Okay, so how long have I been doing this? That's a question that I've gotten asked twice now in the last 30 days, so I figured I better make a video about this. And today I'm sitting at our home in Evergreen, Colorado, where Katie and I currently live and run our business, which we started in 2020 in Christchurch, New Zealand. We moved down there in 2019 in November, and a week after we got there, they closed the borders because of COVID. We had been planning on staying down there for at least, in some extended period of time, at least a year. We had a working holiday visa. I took a job in hospitality and worked in a coffee shop for the first year, and then I started my own business. So we're just heading over to Prebbleton today. I have a background in construction management. I used to work for PCL Construction. I had used drones to survey those sites when I was working for them, and so when we were in Christchurch, I thought, why don't I try and start a business doing that and cater to construction companies down there? It was very difficult to start that business in a foreign country where I didn't know a single person. I didn't know how to generate leads or talk to people or what my offering really would even be. I just went around to job site trailers and knocked on the doors and asked to talk to the project manager. That was very difficult. Cold calling people, getting told no, 9 times out of 10. I've been there and I've door knocked, and I know that that actually is a way that you can start a business. It's not the most efficient way of doing it, but sometimes it's the only way. I actually got 3 customers. Well, one of the companies that I had as a client was HMC Construction, and Hamish was the owner, still is, fabulous guy. He hired me to document this learn to swim facility. I followed that project for over a year, and at the end of it, when it was done, the owners of the pool came to me and said, we liked the video work that you did for Hamish, can you do some for us? I said, oh, I'd love to, and I did, and it was really fun. And I got in the water, and I swam around with the kids, and we got the GoPro, and it was so much fun to be creative. And they used that as the welcome video for their website. But at the time, I didn't have any conception of how to run an ad for them or what that process or structure would even look like. I happily continued along, just creating content for construction companies and slowly scratching out a tiny little sliver of the market share down there in Christchurch, but I felt like I was doing the business on hard mode because my pitch was to such a limited audience, construction companies who need aerial surveying for their dirt work, instead of I can help your local service business grow by using my creative skills but packaging them up into an ad. And that was not something that I realized I could do until I connected with a business coach in America. In 2025, Katie and I moved back to America, and I connected with this coach who helped me really refine that business offering and make it so that it was a much broader appeal than just this offer of, hey, I'll make a nice video that'll sit on your website and never get watched, into, hey, let me create this ad for your business that will drive people to your company, and then I'll show you how to convert them into sales and how to talk to them and track it, and a much broader section of the economy than just construction companies who need to measure how much dirt is being moved on their site. So then when we moved back to America, I really didn't have a strong sense of direction of how I was going to take my business. I put my money where my mouth is. This is what I talk about all the time as business owners who are afraid to invest in their business. I invested $15,000 with a coach who showed me exactly how to implement this model, charge accordingly based on the value of what it provides to these business owners to turn it into a scalable business. So that's what I'm really excited about going into 2026, is that Katie has come on full time as our customer success manager. We're working together. She used to work for several different larger corporations, and this is our first time really setting out on our own and doing this full time, and it's been successful, and we're growing and getting results for our customers and showing other people how they can use Instagram as a sales platform. And it's been very rewarding and very difficult and challenging at the same time. One other thing that I forgot that I wanted to add was that New Zealand is a place of unparalleled natural beauty, and I just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about that. New Zealand. It was so hard to say goodbye to that country. But it's not really saying goodbye. It's more like, we're gonna see you later on a more measured basis. As soon as you step off the plane and into the fresh air of that island country, there is something different in the air. That's where I got this Pounamu greenstone. And there's a very special story behind that. So this stone was given to me by the man who carved it. It came from a larger piece of stone that he had also used to carve a mask in the shape of a resting face. New Zealand was also where I learned to fly, and that is an amazing community of pilots and supporters and aviation enthusiasts. A really life-changing experience down there. So the story of how I came to possess this mask was associated with the passing of my mother. She had been very sick in 2023, and we knew she was going to pass away. I had this trip planned with my friends to hike the Milford Track. They flew down from America, met me in Queenstown, and we took a bus over to Milford Track. I got to FaceTime with my mom and say goodbye. And I told her that it was okay to give up her spirit and that she could rest. And even though she didn't respond on FaceTime, I knew she was there and breathing and could hear me. And then 30 minutes later, I got a text that she had passed away. That was when I was on the boat to the start of the Milford Track. And so for 4 days, there was nothing I could do except go and enjoy nature and worry about all the logistics of the funeral and everything else after that. If you know anything about New Zealand, specifically the West Coast, you know that it's extremely rainy for most of the year. But on the day that my mom passed away, I felt like her spirit came to be with us in New Zealand, and it actually cleared the clouds away.
I can't believe we have sunlight on the Milford Track.
And for 3 days, we hiked with completely clear weather, which is completely unheard of. Got to the top of McKinnon Pass, could see both directions, and we just felt Mom's presence there with us. And then on the 4th day, on the long walk out to Sandfly Point, it rained continuously, and there was waterfalls on all sides of the valley, and it felt biblical almost, you know. And after 3 days, she wept. And so when we got back to Queenstown, I saw this merchant on the waterfront who was selling greenstone as gifts to tourists. And he was a 5th or 6th generation carver, a Maori man, and he had this mask sitting on his table. I went up to him and told him what I just told you.
3 incredible days in a row of sun.
He said, "Brother, I've been waiting for the right person to come along to part with this mask. I'm the proudest of this that I've done of any of my other pieces." And so this was the pattern I had been looking for. They call it Marsden jade or flower jade, where it has a little bit more of the gold in it. And so does this one. You can see it on both sides because it's carved from the same stone, which he inherited from his grandfather, who harvested it in New Zealand from the West Coast.
It was found in the 1970s by a famous jade prospector who was allowed to walk up and down the river.
And then the carver who carved this gave me this as a gift. Okay, so that's the story of how long I've been doing this for. So short answer, long time. Long answer, watch this whole video again.